All right, welcome to Cycling Academy with Shy Bike. 3, 2, 1, go. On this episode, I'm going to answer a very hot question, which is what is the good power output? If you are super beginner or quite advanced amateur cyclist and you just got power meter, or you got the turbo trainer which estimates your power data, you would like to tell, are you good enough for the local crits or MTB race or triathlon just by looking at the numbers? And so I'm gonna do it in a couple of minutes right now. For the beginners, I'm wearing the strap here with the transmitter so that you can see my heart rate, which is 103 beats per minute right now. Super recovery level. And the power, which is 130 watts. That means how much work I'm doing right now. So what is the good power output? I'm gonna go with you through different training zones, and then I'm gonna tell you what power you should be able to sustain in order to do well in Cat 5, Cat 4, Cat 3 on some crits or MTB races, and maybe also be a pro rider, all right? So what I'm doing right now is just the first zone, both my heart rate and my power zone. I will tell you at the end also how are we gonna estimate your level of intensity if you don't have a power meter and you want to train with me on the next sessions. So stay with me for that. I'm just gonna change the gear and go a bit higher. This is, let's say, up to 180 on my level. This is like recovery, right? Or recovering between the intervals. Let's go to the second zone, and that would be here. And just to make a long story short, once you see digit 2 as the first one on your power data often, that means you will do well in Cat 5 or some beginners race. You have to feel comfortable over 200 watts, not for a minute or two, but for an hour and more. So that's it. As you can hear, my breathing becomes deeper, but I can go for hours with this number, 200. Now I'm gonna go with you a bit higher, and that would be my last FTP test when I did 271 watts for 20 minutes. So my FTP, functional threshold power, is 55. Let's change the gear. Just wait for the power to stabilize. Okay, that would be my maximum power I can sustain for 20 minutes. And if we take 95% of that and go to around 255, I should be able to go for an hour. And that's the power output which will allow me in Poland in the races with 600, 800 riders to be in the first 100 in the open category. So all age categories, first 100. My category, I'm 37 years old this year. That would be maybe 30th, something around 30. Okay? Now, super exciting question. How much power you should be able to sustain to be really good? And that's quite easy. If you can see over 300 watts quite often. Okay, so that would be here. I've been listening to podcast with Jeff Kabush just yesterday, and he said a rough number. If you want to be really good, he's a champion multiple times of Canada, you should be able to sustain around 300 watts for a whole race. So if you feel comfortable here, very good. But as for myself, if I feel comfortable at 255, that's pretty average, but not bad at all. All right? And of course, pro riders will be able to sustain 400 watts, 500 watts for minutes, which is a lot. Whew. All right, let's change the resistance. And we're gonna sum up some of the things I said. Whew. As you can see, the power went down to under 100 watts. It's like nothing, but my heart rate is still up. So my heart is still in zone 4, my power zone 1, and my heart still working hard to clean those muscles, to provide oxygen, a fresh blood to these tired muscles. And as I'm recovering right now, it will go down back to where I started. All right, so being able to sustain 270 watts for an hour, I would say go for all the races you can, but especially in the road races like criteriums. There is another topic that you should really get deep into, and that's the breakaways, because I can sustain 260 for a long time, but if some other guys would have the FTP just around my FTP, but they will be able to sustain 400 watts for 1.5 minutes, and I won't. I get dropped and I lose the race. It's a bit different with the MTB or cross-country races, where you can get dropped on the uphills. You need power for that, strength of your muscles, not only muscles, core, whole body actually. But in my opinion, it's easier to get dropped on the road than on the terrain, on the MTB bike. So beginners, try to feel comfortable over 200 watts and go upwards, of course. If you are really racing oriented, try to go as close to 300 watts as you can, and then I would say get a coach. Really get a coach. I'm sitting right now at 255 for my FTP, so I can sustain 270 for 20 minutes, and I would love to go close to 300 of my FTP this year, which is a lot of a difference. But since I'm just coming back to racing, we always hit high numbers at the beginning, and then the increase in our wattage will be smaller and smaller and smaller. And the pro cyclists, they just, you know, fight for 1, 2, 3, 5 watts. So that's it for what is the good power output. Let us know in the comment section, what is your FTP? For how many years have you been training or racing? Are you road cyclist? Are you MTB cyclist? So that we will know how are you doing. And then for those who will be training with me on my training sessions, you don't need power output. Speed is something that's the basic on the turbo trainer, and just by having your speed and how you feel, you will be able to go quite far with your training. So stay tuned for that. Thanks so much for watching. See you guys.